From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Hey everyone, good morning and welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast. We're a little behind schedule this morning. I do apologize for that, but we've got a quick, awesome, amazing, very, very precise show this morning. If you missed our cyber trivia and economics on Friday with myself and Mr. James McQueen, you can go check it out on our website, on YouTube, or your favorite podcast listening platform, cyberhubpodcast.com, where you can see everywhere our podcast is, as well as listen right there, watch our episodes and all that good stuff too. So go and check it out. All right, let's get to our cup of coffee this morning. A happy belated Father's Day to all the awesome fathers out there. I hope you had a wonderful, magnificent, relaxing day yesterday. And without further ado, coffee cup cheers. So, packed show. We'll start off with the Sophos Firewall Zeroday bug that's been exploited for weeks before the fix actually came through. The exploit is being attributed to Chinese hackers who used the Zeroday exploit for critical severity vulnerabilities in the Sophos Firewall to compromise the company and breach a cloud-hosted web servers operated by the victim. The security issue has been fixed. However, in the meantime, various threat actors continue to exploit it to bypass authentication and run arbitrary code remotely on multiple organizations. On March 25th, Sophos published a security advisory about CVE 2022-1040 on authentication bypass vulnerability that affects the user portal and web admin of the Sophos Firewall and could be exploited to execute arbitrary code remotely. 3 days later, the company warned that threat actors were exploiting the security issue to target several organizations in the South Asia region. Now there's more details about it, including the different phases of it, and really what the hackers went on and did there, the criminals, more than that. Apart from the web shell, there's, more malicious activity that ensured persistence, and it led the threat actor to take their attack further, creating a VPN user account and associating certificate pairs on the firewall for legitimate network access. And once to get through your firewall, this kind of severity, if you haven't patched it, that's significant. So make sure you're always maintaining, and again, that shows you the risk coming from your security vendors as well. The Android wiping BRATA malware is evolving into a persistent threat. The threat actor behind BRATA banking Trojan has evolved their tactics and improved the malware with the information stealing capabilities. The modus operandi now fits into an APT activity pattern, according to new report. The term is used to describe an attack campaign in which criminals establish a long-term presence on a targeted network to steal sensitive information. The malware itself has also been updated with a new phishing technique, new classes to request additional permissions on the device, and now also drops a second stage payload from the command and control servers. BRATA malware is also more targeted. The researchers discovered that it focuses on one financial institution at a time and only pivots to a different one when their attacks are rendered inefficient by countermeasures. For example, BRATA now comes preloaded with a single phishing overlay instead of acquiring a list of installed apps and fetching the right injections from the C2 itself. In a more recent version, BRATA adds more permissions that allow it to send and receive SMS, which can help attackers steal temporary codes like OTPs and two-factor authentications that bank send to their customers. Again, why it's important to do stuff outside of just plain SMS. The key logging utility monitors app-generated events and stores them locally on the device with the text data and matching timestamp as well. This is significantly evolved. If you're in finance, this is something you definitely want to keep your eye on for Android. Right now, we see it mostly targeting the EU, although it won't be long before they come for the US. The DOJ seizes proxy service as the US and partners hit Russian hackers. The DOJ announced that it dismantled the Russian network of hack internet-connected devices in a coordinated effort with foreign counterparts to crack down on malicious cyber activity. The DOJ said on Thursday that it worked with law enforcement in Germany, Netherlands, and the UK to take down a Russian botnet known as RSOX. The network reportedly hacked millions of computers and other electronic devices around the world. Initially, they were hacking time clocks, routers, and audio and video streaming equipment, as well as smart garage door openers, which are devices that are connected to the internet. See, not everything in a smart home is smart, especially given the fact that you typically, and most of these, you can't even change the username and password. And some of these, you've got to put them on their own separate network. And most people aren't sophisticated. They think it's super cool. until you end up with something like this. The jury convicted the Seattle woman in the Capital One breach. The former Amazon software engineer who used the online handle Erratic obtained the PII of more than 100 million people. The data breach that prompted Capital One to reach a tentative $190 million settlement with affected customers. The Treasury Department also fined them $80 million for failing to protect data. The 7-day trial found the Seattle jury found her guilty of wire fraud, unauthorized access to a protected computer, and damaging a protected computer. She was acquitted of other charges, including access device fraud and aggravated identity theft. It was argued she suffered from mental health issue. Wire fraud is punishable by up to 20 years in prison, while other charges can bring a 5-year maximum. U.S. District Judge Robert Lasnik is scheduled to sentence the criminal in September. I don't say names of criminals on the show as a general rule of thumb, so I won't be mentioning this person by name, but justice has been swiftly carried out. Escalations in the Middle East. A cyber attack suspected behind a false siren alert in Jerusalem and Eilat in Israel is being attributed to an Iranian hack. So for those who don't know, Israel has a siren alert system, lets you know if there's any missiles being shot towards Israel. It's kind of the if you've ever been to Israel, lived in Israel like I have, it's something that's synonymous with there's a threat heading your way, go down. Well, officials suspected that the rocket sirens heard in Jerusalem and Eilat on Sunday were the result of a cyber attack. The INCD believes that hackers may have been behind the incident due to the fact that the sirens activated were civilian rather than part of the home front command network, according to a statement issued Monday by the IDF. Local authorities have instructed to take prevention measures because of the threat. The cyber directorate has examined whether Iranian hackers were behind the alleged attack, according to an unsourced report in Hebrew language media. Jerusalem residents reported hearing the sirens in the city of Karamonim, Bet HaKerem, and Neve Yaakov neighborhoods. They said the alerts lasted for nearly an hour. In an initial statement on Sunday, the IDF said the sirens were a result of a technical malfunction, but later noted that they sounded on civilian loudspeakers rather than the military's own network. Tensions between Israel and Iran continue to intensify after the assassination of top Iranian officers in Tehran last month. Iran blames those on Israel. A number of deaths of security and scientific personnel inside of Iran. Airstrikes against Iran-linked targets in Syria, threatening rhetoric from Iran's leader, and Iran's increasing violations of their nuclear agreement have all led to that. Also, we talked about this last week. There's been active threats from Iran towards Israeli citizens vacationing in Turkey. They've tried to kidnap Israelis there. They've tried to lure them to different parts of Turkey. To do so, Israel has asked Israelis to not go to Turkey, or if they're in Turkey, to practice extreme caution because of that. Cyberwar escalating even further there, folks. That's it for our show today. We'll be back with a lot more tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your day and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.